Hello, Professor. This is a group to talk about the topic resolving brain drain. Uh, it's me, Aditya Sharma, with members Alan Manzi, Arun Murden, and Galkas Black. So to talk about brain drain is the movement of highly skilled individuals from one country to another. It's no longer the movement from poorer countries to richer countries. It's the lower to higher return brain-related movement, and there's also virtual brain drain that's being seen. So why is brain drain such a big challenge? Mainly because it increases the negative externalities, leading to the decline in capital investment. This is because all the learned and the educated people tend to leave the country, thereby tampers the productivity and the growth in the country, thereby leading to smaller tax base. So we as a group came up with 5 main solutions to tackle this challenge. And the 5 main solutions are: first one, the creation of new job markets for professionals. Second, expansionary fiscal, monetary, and supply side policies. Third, tapping into the patriotism of the citizens. Third, incentives to students to come back after studies. And fifth, pension fund schemes. And my group member, Arunan, will be talking about this with the help of the 6-hat approach.
All right, so the first idea, which is the creation of new jobs for professionals, we use the white hat to be able to identify that there will always be a disequilibrium between the demand for and supply of labor. We've also found out that this might not be feasible in poor countries. For the green hat, we discussed that through further research, the jobs required can be identified and then the market created. There could also be an online platform to help professionals find jobs. By creating new jobs, the human development index of a country will increase, since both job and salary criteria will be satisfied. The citizens will be proud of their country, and there will be a feeling of comfort and excitement due to high-level jobs made available. However, this idea might not work since a country cannot provide all the jobs. People with the qualifications of unrequired jobs will still leave, but this equilibrium between demand and supply will still exist. The time lag between the creation of new jobs and the country's growth is also long. The second idea that we generated was the use of expansionary fiscal and monetary policies and supply side policies. Under the white hat, we found out that the professionals are most likely to stay in order to evade taxes. Reflecting on the past trends, we found out that this will help to promote growth of the country. However, there will be a time lag in its implementation. For the green hat, we've identified that we could study and adapt elements of a Chinese economic model to many countries. We could charge lower tax rates to professionals only. The main benefit of implementing this idea is that it will help to generate monetary comforts for the citizens. It will help to increase the GDP and growth of the country. This will increase the standard of living. Spending will be encouraged and new jobs will be created. There will be the fear among the students due to inflation if this process is not properly implemented. However, if properly implemented, a spendthrift and consumerism culture will thrive, and the professionals will live in comfort. This idea promotes a capitalistic culture, and the time lag in implementing this idea will be long. This might not create a market for new jobs if not properly implemented. Another idea generated is to tap into the patriotism of the citizens. There is a need to differentiate between patriotism and nationalism. Efforts such as cultural events, diaspora, will help to promote this goal as proven by history. An alumni system can also be set up. However, as proven by the facts, the professionals might not have enough time to attend these events. This idea can be improved by educating the country's youth and ingraining in them the idea of patriotism. A fake war, as suggested by our team members, could be set up using virtual reality to create a patriotic feel. Online platforms could be set up so that the citizens living abroad can share their ideas, and the consulates could help in gathering people for cultural events. The main benefit of this idea is that it will help people to help the country from abroad, and the cost of implementation is quite low. It will help in building patriotism and will develop a sense of belonging among the citizens. However, this might not be feasible since there are millions of professionals living abroad. There will be a time lag in educating the youth before reaping its fruits. Some people may also become nationalists, and we can even consider them becoming terrorists if wrongly implemented. The idea of giving incentives to students to come back after their studies was also discussed. According to parse data, we found out that everyone's wants are different and unknown. Giving out benefits could lead to a deficit in the government budget. Also, it might be useless to give incentives to those students who have not been doing well abroad. In order to improve this idea, we suggested to find out about the needs of the students. The government could also, through their consulates, talk to their citizens and ask them about their achievements. The main benefit of this idea is that the reward will nudge for citizens to come back and stay. It is a long-term investment in human capital. There will be a feeling of comfort and motivation among the youngsters due to the fact that the government is supporting them. This idea might not be feasible if the wants of the youth are too big and the country doesn't have the financial capabilities and resources. Moreover, other countries may have better rewards and nudge the citizens to come to them. Pension funds were also one of the ideas generated. This might be a huge cost for the government since not everyone is motivated by money. It might not work. It also increases the tax burden on the youth. Moreover, the elderly might not contribute much to the economy when they come back. This idea can be improved by attaching conditions to the pension payment. The main advantage is that our youth will benefit from the expertise and knowledge of the elderly and can make use of that to grow the country. The tax burden would cause frustration for the younger generation. This idea might not be feasible in poor countries since there is a need for huge financing.
For the expansionary and physical and supply side policies, they have proven to help the economy in growing and expanding the economic growth, further stimulating the economy, as this encourages more spending and production. As people consume more, their standard of livings rise and their well-being in general increases too. The wants will also exponentially increase, and this would lead to the creation of new jobs and also in the development of new job markets. The professionals in the country will be able to match these new job offers. The idea is practical, as this will engage the government to pursue this demand and supply management policies. The concept is a long-term concept subject to a time lag, and it has been validated by the economy of Singapore, which has always proven that high standards of living keeps the professionals in the country. We made a SWOT analysis to further understand how the implemented policies can impact how brain drain can be resolved. For our strengths, we have the economy, the economic growth increasing, and the development of new job markets, which also provides jobs for young professionals and also attracting others. It also improves the image of the country, as the country has a rising economy and which also attracts more investments in the country. And this also helps to develop a natural patriotism in the citizens of the country as they develop a strong sense of contribution to the country. For our main weaknesses, if these implemented policies are not properly controlled, this might spiral to demand pull inflation, where citizens might have a high purchasing power, which in turn leads to demand being more than the supply in the country. This might also result to the dangers of capitalism in the country, and the time lag of implementation might be too long, where a large amount of finance may be required. For the opportunities, these implemented policies will attract foreign direct investments and multinational companies in the country as the economy rises. For the threats, and again, if these implementations are not properly managed, this would result to imported inflation to other countries importing goods from the country, hence also resulting to secondary problems like retaliation from other countries, hence further leading to trade wars.
Moving on to the stakeholders, the main parties involved in implementing this strategic and creative idea are the government, the central bank, and private firms. The government will be party involvement in managing the fiscal policy, while the central bank will be responsible for managing monetary policy. The private firms and the government will be both responsible for supply-side management. The private firms responsible for the majority of employment in many countries will be responsible for creating the new job markets. This solution was better than the others, mainly because of its holistic approach. It taps into all areas. It encourages growth, welfare of the citizens, and at the same time, it's creating a market for new jobs that were previously inexistent. The improvement in the standard of living is causing new jobs to be created. While the country grows, the citizens feel proud of the high quality of the life that their country promises and become patriots. Brain drain will always be exist. It cannot be eliminated. Professionals will always be moving between countries, either physically or virtually, due to their ever increasing needs. Those brain drain can only be reduced.